Welcome back. We are still on the topic quadratic functions. In the previous video, we solved a question on solving a quadratic equation. In this video, we are going to solve another question. The question for this video is find the roots of s squared minus 9s plus 25 is equal to 5. The roots of this equation is the same as the solution of the equation. So when you are asked to find the roots of an equation, what it means is that find the solution of the equation. So we are going to find the solution of this equation. In the previous video, we learned that quadratic equations are of the form as squared plus bs plus c is equal to 0. So to solve this quadratic equation, we have to make sure that the expression on the left-hand side of the equation is 0. So everything should be on the right-hand side. Then what we have on the left-hand side here should be 0. So that is what we are going to do here. We are going to bring everything to the left-hand side so that the right-hand side will be 0. Now to do that, we know that our equation is s squared minus 9s plus 25 is equal to 5. We will bring what we have on the right hand side to the left hand side. 5 is positive here, so when it comes here, it becomes negative. So you have s squared minus 9s plus 25 minus 5 is equal to 0. This will give us s squared minus 9s plus 20 is equal to 0. So this is our equation. S squared minus 9s plus 20 is equal to 0. We have to solve this quadratic equation. To solve a quadratic equation, we have learned that we will have to factorize the quadratic expression in the equation. The quadratic expression here is s squared minus 9s plus 20. So first, we will have to factorize this quadratic expression. We have learned how to factorize a quadratic expression. We have solved a number of examples. So let's go through it quickly. To factorize a quadratic expression, we will have to compare the quadratic expression to the general form of a quadratic expression, which is as squared plus bs plus c. So we will compare s squared minus 9s plus 20 to as squared plus bs plus c for the values of a, b, and c. The coefficient of s squared here is 1. So we can say that a is equal to 1. The coefficient of x here is minus 9. So b is equal to minus 9. And the constant here is 20. So c is equal to 20. Now remember that all these things that I've been doing on the side, you don't have to do them in an examination. I do them to explain to you how I get the values and how the factorization is done. You don't have to do all these in an examination. Okay, so let's continue. We now have the values of A, B, and C. After getting the values of A, B, and C, we will multiply A by C. A times C will give us 20 because A is 1 and C is 20. 1 times 20 will give us 20. So now we look for two numbers that when we multiply, we will get 20, but when we add, we will get minus 9. We will get those two numbers from the factors of 20. So let's list the factors of 20. They are 1, 2, 4, 5, 10, and 20. From this set, we will get the two numbers that when we multiply, we will get 20. When we add, we will get minus 9. Those two numbers are 4 and 5. 4 times 5 will give us 20. 4 plus 5 will give us 9. But here, b is giving us minus 9. It means that we have to do some small adjustments about 4 and 5 such that it will fit both conditions. So what can we do to 4 and 5 such that when we multiply them, we will get 20, and when we add them, we get minus 9? we will have to negate both 4 and 5. So we will have negative 4 and negative 5, because negative 4 times negative 5 will give us 20, and negative 4 plus negative 5 will give us negative 9. So the two numbers we are looking for are negative 4 and negative 5. Once again, in an examination, you only go through this process to find the two numbers. Here, the two numbers are negative 4 and negative 5. So you don't have to show how you did all this in the answer booklet. You do it on a rough sheet to get the two numbers that when you multiply, you will get A times C, but when you add, you get B. Here, those two numbers are minus 4 and minus 5. So we will replace B, which is minus 9, with minus 4 and minus 5. So we are going to replace minus 9x with minus 4x and minus 5x. Let's do that. We are replacing minus 9 with minus 4x and minus 5x. We will have s squared minus 4s minus 5s plus 20 is equal to 0. S squared minus 4s minus 5s plus 20 is equal to 0. We have now expanded our expression, so we can put the brackets around it and factorize. We will put the bracket around the first two terms, then we will put the bracket around the last two terms. When we put the bracket around the first two terms, we have s squared minus 4x in one bracket. When we put the bracket around the last two terms, there will be a negative sign outside the bracket. Because of this negative sign outside the brackets, the positive sign here will change to negative. So we have minus into bracket 5s minus 20 is equal to 0. S squared minus 4x. The common factor here is x. So we bring x outside the brackets, we will be left with x minus 4. 5x minus 20. The common factor is 5. So we will bring 5 outside the bracket into bracket x minus 4, and this is equal to 0. So we have x minus 4 here, x minus 4 here. You pick one of them. We have x minus 5. So you have x minus 5 into another bracket. So we have x minus 4 in one bracket, then x minus 5 into another bracket. After factorizing the quadratic expression, we can now solve the quadratic equation. I'll bring this line here so that we can continue our solution here. In the previous video, we learned that to solve this quadratic equation, we will equate the expression in the first bracket to 0. So we have x minus 4 is equal to 0, and this will give us s is equal to 4. Then we will equate the expression in the second bracket also to 0. So we have x minus 5 is equal to 0, and this will give us s is equal to 5. So the roots of the equation s squared minus 9s plus 25 is equal to 5 are 4 and 5. As I said in the previous video, we can use our calculator to find the roots or the solution of a quadratic equation. So after our solution, we can use the calculator to check our answer. Let's try that out and see. In the question, the equation we were given was s squared minus 9s plus 25 is equal to 5. But we can see that this equation is not expressed in the general form of a quadratic equation. When we simplified it, the general form of a quadratic equation that we had was s squared minus 9x plus 20. So this is the quadratic equation that we are going to enter into the calculator, because the one we have up here is not, this equation here is not in the general form of a quadratic equation. It is s squared minus 9x plus 20 is equal to 0. That is in the general form of a quadratic equation. So this is the equation we are going to enter into the calculator. Okay, so let's bring our calculator back. You press on mode, you select the fifth option, which is for equation. Then after you have selected the fifth option, you pick quadratic equation, which is the third option. So you press on 3. The calculator is asking us for A. From this equation that we have here, the coefficient of x squared is 1. So it means that A is 1. The calculator is asking for B. From this equation, B is minus 9. So you enter minus 9. The calculator is asking for C. From this equation, C is 20. So you enter 20. Okay. Then you press on equal to. The calculator is saying that x1, that is the first solution, is 5. You press on equal to again. X2, the second solution, is 4. So it means that the roots or the solution of our equation is 5 and 4. Thank you for watching this video. Subscribe to this channel for more videos. In the next video, we are going to solve another question on solving quadratic equations. Bye bye.